Hi, it's Therese on Lostinpaper, and today I've got this All A Bloom set from Penny Black. It has these really pretty flowers in the set, and they're only a small image, and sometimes it can be really difficult to use these small images. So one idea that I like to do is to create my own, basically create my own design cardstock. So I'm actually going to do a watercolor panel today, and I'm tape down a piece of very smooth thick watercolor cardstock to my board just so that it doesn't warp while I'm adding the water to it. And when I like to stamp out my flowers or my images on my background, I like to rotate the stamp so that the images are all facing different ways, mix it up too so that there's some of the images all over different parts of the panel, and also make sure that I stamp some of the images off the edge of the panel. So this piece of cardstock is actually a bit bigger than I need, so I am going to be able to cut this down to the size that I want. The paint that I'm using today is the Kiritaki Ganso Tambi, and initially I started by adding the water directly to the cardstock and then picking up the paint and adding the water and then sort of transferring it across. But in the end I kind of found it was just a bit easier to pick the paint directly up from the palette and move it across. And then if I wanted the colour to be a little bit lighter, I could either add some water or dab colour away. And if I wanted it to be darker, then I can just simply pick up more colour and put it across. So I'll list all the colours that I'm using over at my blog. So if you want to know the exact colours that I'm using, the link will be in the YouTube description below. And I've kind of gone a bit overboard on this flower here. I'm not really happy with the way it turned out, but I'll cover that up in the end. I'm not going to give up on this panel just yet. I'm trying to spread the colour out over the whole panel so that it looks fairly even, and as the colour dries it does get a little bit lighter too, so I can always add a little bit more later if I want it to be a little bit bolder. The leaves I've chosen a couple of different colours as well. One that's a nice kind of bright May green, and the other one that's like a darker green. I've used that on the lighter flowers. And once that's all dry, I can start working on my background. And to do that, I'm simply adding some clean water to the background around the flowers, and then picking up the colour directly from the pan and adding it to the cardstock. I am being careful not to touch the flower images because that colour, it's a watercolour, so it will reactivate when you add water to it. And if the area sort of looks a little bit too dark, I can simply just either add more water or dab some of the colour away. And then once that layer's dry, I'm going to add some splatters, and to do that I'm using my Faber-Castell. This is a Texture Luxe, really shimmery gold. I love it. So added it to a block, added some water, and I'm simply just using a paintbrush to flick it on, and then I'm going to allow that to dry as well. Now it's really hard to see the shimmer from this gold on the video, but you can see it in the photos at the end. I'm going to add more gold now, and that's my sentiment. And this comes from the Penny Black Sprinkles and Smile set, and I'm simply going to just emboss some Pale Rich Gold Wow embossing powder. And this, even though the cardstock looks black, it is actually navy blue. And I really like this Wow embossing powder. It doesn't leave a lot of residue behind when you're stamping, especially on a dark cardstock. But if you do, you can easily just scrape the pigment away if you do actually get it in the wrong spot. And thanks to everyone for their advice about the ATG. I have gone ahead and bought one, and I am liking it. You should have seen the tangle I got myself in though when I was trying to add the roll. I think I wasted half the roll trying to get it all set up, but I got there in the end. Oh, might have been the wine I was drinking at the time. I am not so keen on the glue in this gun for the foam though, the foam that I'm using, the fun foam, to pop up the panels, so I probably will stick to using my score tape on those. Unless there's a stronger glue, you might be able to let me know, unless there's a stronger glue that I can buy for the pink gun. But before I set this up, I am going to add a little bit of delicata gold just around the edge of the panel. Just add a little bit of shimmer. So this card is 15 by 10.5. It's a top fold card, and I'm going to actually cover up that little bit of blue mess that I made on that flower with my sentiment. And this is just a piece of black foam that I'm using there. And fighting with my ATG gun a little bit. It hasn't taken me too long to get used to it, but I still need to practice. And as a final touch, I'm going to add a couple of enamel dots. These are from Studio Calico, and I've been hoarding these for a while, so I really do need to use them. They're just a shimmery gold one. So lots more to see over at my blog, lots of cards that I don't share here at YouTube. So if you link through the description below, you can find them. So till next time, happy paper crafting. Bye.